Tonight on PhillyCAM Voices, how a group of Black doctors band together to provide COVID-19 testing to underserved communities in Philadelphia. The pandemic has sparked backlash against some Asian Americans. We hear from community members. Find out what local lawmakers and activists are doing to protect the homeless and keep the coronavirus from spreading. Artists have been hit especially hard during the pandemic with the loss of jobs, but their creativity is leading to new opportunities. Plus, how yoga and meditation can help people thrive during the pandemic. Good evening, and thank you for tuning into the 50th episode of PhillyCAM Voices. I am your host, Amanda Johnson. The Black Doctors Consortium is providing COVID-19 testing in underserved communities in Philadelphia. It's a grassroots group that has raised its own money to fight this deadly disease. Chinchilla Jonicia reports.
Black Americans have been the hardest hit by this COVID-19 pandemic, and as the coronavirus sweeps through Black communities here in Philadelphia, a group of Black doctors have banded together to bridge the gap of health disparities and remove the barriers of disproportionate testing. By forming a consortium of Black doctors who've instituted free COVID-19 drive-through testing and walk-in testing in at-risk areas throughout this city. Let's meet some of the Black doctors on the front line making a difference during this pandemic.
Hey everybody, this is Chinchilla Jonicia reporting for PhillyCAM Voices, and I am here today at Triumph Baptist Church, located at 1648 West Hunting Park Avenue. And doctors are here today testing people for free for coronavirus.
My name is Dr. Ayla Stanford, and I'm a pediatric surgeon and the organizer of the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium. Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium was born out of once the Philadelphia Tribune reported that 46% at the time, now 54% of African Americans were dying from COVID-19, and that actually affluent neighborhoods were more likely to be tested than those in the hardest hit neighborhoods, particularly in North Philadelphia. And so we want to bridge that gap. So not only are we the ones who have more disease and are dying, but we're also the ones that are unable to get a test. I mean, so it's like the deck was stacked against us, and our goal is to remove those barriers so that it isn't, and we have an opportunity to change some of the disease and death that's being seen disproportionately in the African American community. The city was not implementing increased testing in any of our hardest hit neighborhoods, so I took this upon myself to put this together and get all of my friends together so that we could test folks and identify those who are positive so we could get them out of the community, potentially infecting others. And to date, we've been successful in doing that. I think after today, if not Saturday, we will have tested about 2,000 people in about 7 to 8 days. And right now, what we're doing, these are samples that we've taken, so it has the media in it, and there's a swab that we have taken down someone's nasopharynx, and then with the media is how they identify the active virus in the media. And this is run by PCR testing. It's all through LabCorp. I think I can show you that without identifying a person's name. And they are running the test as a gold standard PCR for the active virus that is COVID-19. And I want to get these over on ice.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome so much. Thanks for coming to check us out, and I appreciate the support.
You're welcome. I'm here with Dr. Reginald Floyd. What prompted you to do this?
Well, I'm a native Philadelphian as well, and I'm quite aware of the health disparities among our African American community. One of the things that kind of bothers me is when the media states that the African American community is more likely to contract COVID, it's not put in the proper context. And what I mean by that is, it seems like to me, this is just my opinion, that it's like it's endemic to being black, and it has nothing to do with that. It mainly has to do with that socioeconomic issues. So when you're poor and you lack access to health care, or you have some pre-existing conditions such as smoking, hypertension, diabetes, and obesity, that's not a issue of just being endemic to being black. It's a lot of socioeconomic. So I can tell you that I've taken care of some of my patients down in the Frankfurt area who are not black, and they're COVID positive, and they have the same issue. So say, for instance, if you went out to Appalachia or any rural area and you encounter poor white citizens, they will probably have the same pre-existing condition. For those who do have these pre-existing conditions or lack of access to health care within our community, I just want to be a spoke in the wheel.
To Dr. Stanford and Foy and the entire consortium of Black doctors and its volunteers, on behalf of the Black community, we not only commend you, but we thank you. Chinchilla Jonicia, PhillyCAM Voices. If you are having coronavirus type symptoms or have been in contact with someone who has tested positive in the past 14 days and you would like to be tested, go to www.realconciergemedicine.com.
There is a rise in anti-Asian rhetoric in relating to COVID-19. Plus, there's a possible increase in hate crimes against Asian Americans. Frankie Corpus talked with some community members who say they don't feel safe.
Despite President Trump's recent backpedal on referring to the coronavirus as the Chinese virus, hate crimes against Asian Americans still continue to surge around the nation. As of May 2020, the Asian Pacific Policy and Planning Council states that there have been over 1,700 reports of coronavirus discrimination from Asian Americans across the country and counting. As host to a diverse population of Asian communities and home to the second oldest Chinatown on the East Coast, how has this affected Asian Americans in Philadelphia? Dr. Stephanie Tran, dental resident at Temple University Hospital, recalls her recent experience of xenophobia.
This woman who was, had her mask on, she kind of looked up and down at me and then glared and then literally ran away while staring at me. And the next incident, which was a couple of days after I went on a run, this man and his dog saw me approaching. He grabbed his dog off the ground and then scowled at me. Yeah, those two incidents made it feel quite raw, that xenophobia is real. I think it's important to know that this is not a virus that, is Asian. We should try our best to, stop and reduce discrimination against Asians.
Yue Wu, community planner for the Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation, shares anti-Asian harassment that took place blocks away from her office.
Our executive director of PCDC actually experienced a verbal attack in Chinatown. There were some teenagers yelling at him, saying curse words. Although not everyone is experiencing racial discrimination directly, we know its presence. And we see it online, and we see it on the media, and we hear it from our friends and families, and it's definitely giving us actual stress. And some people are feeling that coronavirus is not the most dangerous for them, but the racial discrimination is more dangerous.
Toy Win, CEO of CMAC, talks about his racist encounter while distributing food to immigrant families in need during the pandemic.
One of my staff coming into the building was almost attacked by a Caucasian man who basically just got very, very aggressive and started saying very inappropriate racial epithets towards my staff, blaming him for the coronavirus. About a week later, as I was actually outside distributing food, a gentleman walked by and he kind of made fun of my mask. And he asked, why do I need to be wearing a mask? And I said, well, I think you should be wearing one too. And as he was walking away, he basically said, effing Kung flu. But I'm heartened to see that for every racist that I have seen, there are 10 or 20 people that have come forward to take them down, to help people in need.
While underreporting of hate crimes is not unusual among minority groups, it has become alarmingly common in Asian American communities during this time. I'm Frankie Corpuz, reporting for PhillyCAM Voices.
What measures are being taken to protect Philadelphia's homeless from contacting COVID-19 and spreading the virus? Connie Combe spoke with local lawmakers and community leaders to find out.
According to the Philadelphia Office of Homelessness, there are approximately 5,700 homeless people in the city. These people are in various states of homelessness, from shelters to living on the street, as well as folks in temporary housing. With COVID-19 spreading like wildfire throughout the city, the danger is this population contracting COVID-19 and spreading it to other segments of the population. What, if any, preventative measures and treatments are being taken to protect the homeless from getting and spreading it? Community activists and city and state elected officials discussed what's being done to protect this vulnerable population. Brian Jenkins is the director of Chosen 300 Ministries, an organization that feeds the homeless population. The group has implemented safety measures to protect the homeless from COVID-19 during its Sunday morning program in Love Park.
We intentionally, before anyone gets there, we separate the chairs 6 feet apart. But then also all the guests are given armbands with a number on it, so that way when it's time to gather up for the meal, they're called by number 10 at a time.
Monica McCurdy, the Vice President for Healthcare Services and a physician assistant for Project Home, says the homeless face a greater risk of contracting COVID-19.
We may have a lot of asymptomatic folks walking around and we just don't know it. I do know that the incidence of chronic illness, any chronic illness, whether you're talking hypertension, diabetes, COPD, autoimmune disorders, cancer, folks that are homeless are generally more unhealthy than the general population because homelessness can make you sicker.
Pastor Adon of the West Kensington Ministries explained what he has seen regarding the homeless and social distancing.
There's not. From what I see, I don't see face masks. People still congregating in groups. And I think that the truth of it is like, once those people become infected or whatever, and then they start coming into other neighborhoods, that's when I think people are going to pay attention.
City Councilman Curtis Jones Jr. and State Representative Morgan Cephas talked about the steps the City of Philadelphia and the state of Pennsylvania are taking to address these concerns.
We look at all of the departments that are getting cut by the downturn in revenue. Guess what? We're not cutting homeless services. In addition to that, several of my colleagues have introduced legislation to try to protect renters. We've extended the moratorium on eviction. We've done sanitary hand washing stations around to try to get and encourage the homeless population to deal with the hygiene issue. We work with our partners such as the Hub of Hope to make sure that they can take showers. We've tried to encourage socially responsible feeding areas. And one of the hot spots that we really have to get control over is Kensington. But one of the things we are looking at and have been looking at is miniature homes.
For the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we will be spending $3.9 billion as a result of COVID coming from the federal government. And specifically for emergency housing solutions, we've been awarded $19.9 million for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So these are dollars that are going to homelessness prevention, emergency sheltering, rapid rehousing, street outreach, homeless management and information.
Here are some of the next steps the city and the state are taking.
That ensuring how we acted with a sense of urgency to put our homelessness, our homeless population into hotel rooms. That means, well, we could have done that already. Or to, again, increase unemployment compensation, to offer paid sick leave. Like all of these things that we have been able to do in a matter of 7 weeks, we damn sure should be able to do it after COVID-19 because we've proved that we've been able to do it.
So the rep and I, along with others of my colleagues, have introduced a resolution to look at lessons learned from COVID-19, and it crosses industries. So we're going to ask the police commissioner, what did you learn about law enforcement during a pandemic? We're going to ask hospitals, what did you learn? What are we going to do differently going forward? And one of the segments where lessons learned will be with the homeless population.
This is Connie Com reporting for PhillyCAM Voices.
Millions of people have lost their jobs across the country and here in our area because of the pandemic. Artists have been especially hit hard. But Joshua Mitchell shows us how some creativity is leading to new opportunities from some local entertainers.
At the end of the world, the last two things around are going to be water and music. You know, I think it just highlights this idea of when we think about art as, is it essential or is it not, right? And a lot of people will come with this idea that like, oh no, music, whatever, or like when the economy hits, what's going to go first? People aren't going to go and watch movies, they're not going to buy music. But we're seeing that that's not true.
Singers, dancers, artists, musicians, all creative freelancers alike have constantly carried the stigma of being risk takers because many outsiders believe that their financial stability is never guaranteed. And now, thanks to the closures due to the social distancing orders, the entertainment industry is facing unprecedented instability and a great need for sudden change. Inspiring members of the Philadelphia entertainment industry have risen up to meet this challenge and have been able to use their creativity to not just survive, but thrive within this new world of social distancing. So let's take things back to when the stay-at-home order first came through and ended our current view of what live entertainment is.
I feel like, I went through all of the phases of grief, right? One was like denial, right? And I was like, nah, no way, this is serious.
Says Will Toms, co-founder of Rec Philly, a creative space located at 9th and Market where creators of all types are given the resources that they need to further their art into more than just a hobby, but a business. I also got the chance to speak with Andrew Looper, the lead singer of the band Rubber, who was gearing up for an East Coast tour before the mass closures hit.
First, South by Southwest was canceled. We still had our tour there and back, so we kept that. And then pretty much the day we were supposed to leave is when it got really bad. The entire country shut down.
Now with live events off of the table, entertainers and businesses were left with a daunting question. How do we make money?
Almost overnight, it was this thing where it was like, yo, we've got 900 plus active members that we still need to find a way to be valuable to, even though we can't be within the four walls of our space. What really do we offer, right? Is Rec the space itself and that's it? Or, is there a bigger offering that we are providing to our members in the form of education, in the form of community? And what does community look like in a time of social distancing?
After reevaluating what their true value is to their members, Rec Philly was able to quickly move their business online. It took form in the shape of virtual classes and community-oriented events via Zoom and Rec Philly's own website. In the month of April alone, they were able to host a whopping 24 virtual events, and in the month of May, they matched those numbers. But what happens when your business isn't membership-based and relies on the constant sale of tickets and merchandise? Singers, musicians, and DJs have all taken to social media as a way to stay connected with their audiences, and they've used live streams to provide them with the amazing service that is their art. Many of the artists are now performing for a much greater audience than they ever have in the past. Unfortunately, the newfound visibility is rarely attached to a source of income.
The monetization is really the issue. While performing is fun and making music is fun, for a lot of us who are doing this professionally, it is literally our labor. So just going on Instagram Live and, putting on a show, it's not necessarily beneficial.
Thankfully for entertainers, monetization for live stream shows is slowly making its way to becoming the new norm. With the rise of platforms such as Veeps and Prekindle, who both offer ticketed live streaming events, there's also been a recent push for virtual reality concerts, which we've gotten a small taste of through events like Travis Scott's Fortnite performance and an event called Block by Block West, which served as a Minecraft substitute for South by Southwest. Entertainers have also been using a donations-based system to keep things rolling financially. For instance, DJ Royale has been hosting DJ sets on the live streaming platform Twitch, which allows for payments through Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal. Music streaming services such as Spotify and SoundCloud have also added artist donation options. So although no one knows what the future of live entertainment may hold, it's important to know that your art doesn't have to stop existing.
Social distancing and working from home can be stressful, so managing one's mental health is important. Reporter Deborah McCoy talked with an expert about how to maintain balance and peace.
It is often the case that our greatest opportunities to learn and grow come disguised as challenges. We spoke with Aisha Kay of Wildflower Wellness about her diagnosis with lupus in her early 20s and how overcoming that obstacle built the necessary muscle of resilience she needed to always be grounded in chaos.
It was like a double diagnosis because the lupus attacked my kidney function. I had less than 10% function of my kidneys. And I literally got both of those diagnoses at the same time. So, needless to say, life as I knew it was never the same. I battled with depression. There was just like a complete shift in everything that I had known up until that point.
Going to source and finding spiritual connection gave Aisha the skills necessary to weather any storm, including the uncertainties of coronavirus and quarantine. Here are just a few of the ways she has been managing.
My spiritual practices have been like clutch for me. A lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, making sure like I get out to go for walks, being safe, but still making sure that I get out of the house to go for walks, to get out in the sun, to breathe fresh air, staying connected and staying social as much as that's, allotted in this time has really been a way for me to see the silver lining and see how other people are maintaining and offering a beam of light and support to people that may not be so optimistic or may be in a worse off situation than what I am.
These days, Aisha is still running her small business, donating healing products to those in need and shifting American culture to one with better foundations in wellness.
Other cultures are born knowing how to build that muscle of faith. Whereas over here, it's kind of like when things hit the fan, that's when we want to start searching for ways to build our faith.
The COVID-19 crisis has dramatically changed how people live their lives, and despite the unimaginable loss, there might also be an opportunity to reassess and build a more caring world with what this crisis has taught us.
There's a very authentic type of connection that has been happening during this time. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we don't have the distractions of being able to, go to this event or anything that was a part of our normal day-to-day existence. A lot of that had to do with being out and about. There's a lot of distraction in that.
Aisha offers her perspective on what we can gain during this time of isolation and loss.
What I feel is the gift of time, that even though we can never get that time back because we're all on the same accord and all on this period of a break, that this period of just slowing down, maybe that will shift the pace that we operate at as a whole moving forward. When this is all said and done, maybe our pace won't be so hectic and so busy all the time. But that's so far been the biggest gift that I've received personally.
For PhillyCAM Voices, I'm Deborah McCoy.
That's all we have for this episode of PhillyCAM Voices. Thanks for joining us. You can also watch our shows on YouTube and Roku, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We'll see you next time.